He was denied a table at his own restaurant. What happened next changed everything. Imagine walking into a place you built with your own hands, a place you poured your savings, your sweat, and your dreams into, only to be told by the person at the front desk that you don't belong there. Imagine standing in your own restaurant, invisible, unwanted, judged before a single word is spoken. That is exactly what happened to one man on an ordinary evening, and what unfolded next would remind an entire city what real kindness looks like. Before we dive into this story, if you believe in the power of kindness to change lives, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. This channel, Kindness Miracles, is all about true stories that restore your faith in humanity, so stick around, because today's story is one you won't forget. His name was Daniel Hayes, and for 22 years he had worked to build the Marlowe, an elegant restaurant tucked into the heart of downtown, known for its warm lighting, its soft piano music, and its impeccable service. He had started as a dishwasher decades ago, scrubbing pots until his hands cracked, saving every dollar, learning every corner of the business, until finally, after years of sacrifice, he owned the place outright. But tonight, Daniel wasn't dressed like an owner. He had just come from helping repair a water leak in the kitchen's basement, his jeans stained, his flannel shirt wrinkled, his boots scuffed from work, not from luxury. He walked toward the hostess stand simply wanting a quiet table to sit, breathe, and go over the evening's reservations. Before he could say a word, a young hostess named Elena stepped in front of him, her hand raised firmly. She looked him up and down, taking in his tired eyes and worn clothes, and without hesitation she said, "I'm sorry, sir, but this isn't the place for you. We have a dress code, and I think you'd be more comfortable somewhere else." The words cut through the air, sharp and humiliating, especially with nearby guests glancing over, some whispering, some smirking. For a moment, Daniel said nothing. He could have pulled out his identification. He could have pointed to the golden plaque near the entrance with his name engraved as founder. He could have ended her career on the spot with a single sentence. But instead, he chose something far more powerful. He chose to listen. Daniel took a breath, nodded gently, and said, "I understand. Can you tell me why you feel that way?" Elena, still tense but trying to do her job the way she believed was right, explained that management had been strict lately about appearances, especially after a complaint from a corporate client the week before. She wasn't cruel by nature, she was scared, new to the job, and desperately trying not to get fired. Daniel listened patiently, watching this young woman defend a policy that, unfortunately, mirrored some real instructions given by an overzealous new manager he had hired months ago and hadn't closely supervised. Instead of anger, something else rose in Daniel's chest, a memory of himself decades earlier, dressed in second-hand clothes, terrified of being judged and turned away from opportunities most people took for granted. He asked Elena if he could speak to her for a few minutes, and she nervously agreed. He told her softly about his own story, about growing up with very little, about washing dishes just to afford bus fare, about being mocked once for wearing torn shoes to a job interview. He explained that kindness should never depend on appearance, and that judging people by their clothes can crush the very people trying hardest to rebuild their lives. Elena's eyes welled up as she realized who she may have offended, though she still didn't fully know his identity yet. She apologized, embarrassed, expecting to be scolded, maybe even dismissed. Instead, Daniel smiled and asked her to walk with him to the back office. There, he introduced himself properly, showing her his name on the restaurant's official documents. Elena's face went pale with shock, but Daniel raised a calming hand before she could panic. He told her this wasn't about punishment, it was about growth. He explained that the true heart of the Marlowe was never about fancy attire or corporate polish, it was about how people treated each other, especially those who seemed to have nothing. He asked Elena to help him rewrite the restaurant's guest policy that very night, one built on respect, warmth, and genuine hospitality for everyone who walked through the doors, regardless of what they wore or how much money they had. Word of what happened spread quickly among the staff, not as a story of humiliation, but as a story of grace. Daniel didn't fire Elena. He didn't shame her publicly. Instead, He mentored her, and within months, she became one of the most beloved staff members at the Marlowe, known for treating every guest, rich or poor, dressed elegantly or dressed plainly, with the same warm smile and respectful welcome. Regulars began noticing a new kind of atmosphere in the restaurant, a feeling that everyone belonged, that no one would ever be judged at the door again. Daniel often said afterward that the moment he was turned away from his own restaurant was one of the most important nights of his life, because it reminded him why he built the place at all, not for luxury, not for status, but to create a space where every human being felt valued. What could have ended in anger and embarrassment instead became a lesson in patience, humility, and forgiveness, one that transformed not just Elena, but an entire restaurant culture. And maybe that is the true lesson for all of us. Kindness doesn't mean ignoring mistakes, it means choosing understanding over ego, and grace over pride. If this story touched your heart, remember to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Miracles, and share this story with someone who needs a reminder that a little kindness can quietly change everything.